Hi, everybody, and welcome to my podcast, Real English in Slow and Clear English. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about some weird things I did as a kid. In fact, I still do some of those things today. All right, let's get going. So I was born in Moldova, which is a tiny country sandwiched between Ukraine and Romania. And growing up there was quite an experience, and I want to share some of my favorite parts of being a child in Moldova. So number one, everybody, let's start with some food preferences. I have always loved chicken feet. I know that many people find them weird and maybe even scary, but they're not. They're really tasty. So I like now, and I did when I was a kid, chicken feet, especially in meat jelly, okay, or aspic. It's a very popular traditional, let's say, dish in many post-Soviet countries. Now, when I tell my friends or even my husband that I want to have some, chicken feet, I want to cook some chicken feet, some aspic, they look at me like I'm the craziest person in their life. Well, if I'm being honest, I have cooked as an adult chicken feet aspic maybe just once in my life. And if I'm not mistaken, it was last year. And of course, my husband didn't even touch it, although it was delicious. But as they say, more for me. So every time you want to share some of your food with someone and they say, no, thank you, you can say, more for me, more for me. Number two, everybody, as you might have heard, Moldova produces wine. And it is quite common for many families to have a small personal vineyard. And a vineyard is a place where basically the grapes grow. Okay, so after picking the grapes from the vineyard and transporting them home and placing them in a barrel, and barrel is a thing where you actually store the wine, okay, I would hop into this barrel barefoot, without shoes, barefoot, and crush the grapes with my feet. Okay, apparently the bacteria that got into the wine was really, really good for the wine. But don't you worry. If you happen to see a bottle of wine in your store and it says produced in Moldova, it's highly unlikely that it was produced this way. It was just, a family tradition. Not only my family, like many, many families did that. Then the barrel was moved to the cellar, which was in the basement of our house, cellar, where we also stored all the preserves my granny made for winter. And my granddad had a drinking problem, so he would sneak into the cellar. He would go to the cellar without other people seeing him, without being noticed, and would have, a few sips just to start or end the day on a high note. Next up, number three. I love still green, unripe walnuts. Okay. Again, I was growing up in a very small city, and almost each family had a walnut tree. So we would pick the green, unripe walnuts from the tree, crack them open with a knife, and eat the white nut inside, which had a very milky flavor. I still love these green, unripe nuts, but apparently they're not a thing in many countries. They're not very common. They're not popular in many countries. So I can't find them anywhere, not even in stores. So, a business idea. If you happen to have a walnut tree, do sell me your nuts. Although it sounds really weird, but I think you know what I mean. But there's also one downside you have to know about. So the green peel that protects the shell inside, okay, is full of iodine. And when you peel it off, your hands get fully brown for about 1 week. But just believe me, it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it. The next one, everybody. When I had a headache, my granny would tell me that someone cursed me. Someone gave me the evil eye. Someone cursed me. I was cursed. And she would say a prayer and, touching my head like this in the shape of a cross for about like 5-10 minutes. And then miraculously, the pain would just go away. Now, being an adult, I totally forgot about it, but I still have migraines, and I do have them quite often. So now what I do, or what my husband does, is massaging my head. And then the pain just gradually eases. Step by step goes away, gradually eases. And it made me realize this is what actually helped me back then. The next one is number 5. So, as you remember, I was growing up in a very small city. And obviously, I went to a very small school. And I was the person who rang the bell, okay? So I literally had a bell in my hand, and I had to run around the school for like 2 minutes, okay? And make sure that everybody heard when the lesson started and finished. It made me feel so important. Number 6, near my school, the school where I rang the bell, remember? There was a juice factory or something like that. And every time when the trucks, the big cars, the trucks drove past our school, the road, okay, the boys would jump on the back of the trucks, throw, the apples or something like that down to us. We would pick them up and eat together afterwards. Dangerous, but fun. And here's something crazy. Recently, I bought a jar of green walnut marmalade I was just talking about, okay? The same green walnut, but just in a different form, okay? So the thing is that, as it turned out, it was made at the same factory I was just talking about near my school, Vita, or Orhei Vit. And Orhei is my hometown, all right? And this is what made me, finding this random jar in Spain, in a shop in Spain, made me feel so nostalgic. You have no idea. This is crazy. Anyway, looking back, at all those things, it might seem that they're actually crazy, but no, all those things are the things that I loved and I still do, and they're a huge part of my childhood. So, what about you? Do you have any weird habits or traditions when you were a child? Let me know in the comment section, and please do not forget to subscribe because I have a lot more to share. Have a nice day.